Hello, this is Minister Paul. I'm out here in Northern California on the morning of 9/24/2014 at 9:51 a.m. and that's Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to be trying to put out a few videos today, at least 2, hopefully 3, depending on how time goes. And so, with that being said, last night something had really caught my eye, and I'm putting up this Fair Use Act and using this assortment of links, and I will give credit to every link I use because I want to give some teaching here under what's called fair use. Okay, so this is what I was watching last night, and it's on I-80 being closed here in Northern California for national defense and FEMA purposes. And knowing what I know in the industry that I worked in, how fast these things are happening and occurring and taking place in regards to natural disasters, which I've reported on for a couple years now, and even called federal agencies and asked them to explain in detail more. The rate at which these birth pangs, that I call them, are ramping up should alarm everybody. I'm just going to play a short clip from our local Channel 3 here, NBC, just a short part of it, and please watch. More importantly, listen.
Does not meet today's federal clearance standards of 16 feet 6 inches for high-profile vehicles and national defense. It's the first structure that will be lifted as part of the Caltrans Raise 80 project.
For emergency response, a lot of the command centers, such as FEMA and Office of Emergency Services, can't get under these structures, so they have to detour around, which slows response time, which you do not want in an emergency.
Okay, so it sounds good and everything, but let's look at what they're saying. At a time where we have the second, I believe it is, correct me if I'm wrong, feel free to, I believe this is the second largest fire in Northern California in years, and could possibly become quickly the largest fire in Northern California. As it, if you look in the center of this map, you'll see 50. This is where the fire is burning, up in this area, and as you see it approaching the Tahoe and area. And I live, see where it says Yuba City and Sacramento? I live right in between here, and that's why we're so smoky, because we're sitting in a valley and the smoke comes down off these hills here and settles in the valley. Grass Valley is getting smoke. Just, my wife was up there yesterday and it was just ridiculous smoke. So there's 2 major ways or routes, I would say, that the majority of people would use to get to higher ground. That's 80 that you're seeing of right here through this area, and then all the way up north. Can everybody see that? And then there's 50. Now 50's been intermittently closed on and off because of the King Fire. See 50 right here? And now at night they're closing 80. Do you see any other major highways in here where the South Lake Tahoe is? What they call a hit the fan route, a bug out route. If you're not going to shelter in place, then you bug out. And that's plan B. Well, how would you get up into these foothills if they're closing both of these? Can everybody see that on a map? 50 and 80. This is the one that's been closed on and off for the King Fire. 50, Placerville right here through El Dorado National Forest. And then you would turn up here to go to major city in Nevada. Or 80, now they're closing 80. And let's look at why. What they're doing is, it's a series from the 23rd and the 24th. It's a series of detours while 80 is completely shut down in these areas. And they're raising it approximately 1 foot, I think, and this gives you the 9 bridges. And this was documented originally on 11/11. It's $36 million right now when we're $17 trillion in debt. When we're in the biggest drought and emergency preparedness is being pushed like never before. They're spending $36 million to raise these bridges 1 foot, and they cite FEMA and the Office of Emergency Services. And I tried to think, let's take a look again. What type of vehicle or tank would FEMA need to come underneath this bridge that's over 15.6? Look at the clearance of this standard big rig and how much room it has. What are they not telling us? What is coming? Because I had a friend, and I'll just go into this real briefly and quickly. And please share if you know anything like this with links and everything. You can now use links on YouTube. You don't even have to like space them out. Just put the link in there and it'll already make it into a hyperlink. It's called a clickable link for everybody. In 2003 and 2004, I worked at a classified site that would be, how can I use this? It would be activated in an emergency in this state that would connect it to several other states, and things would need to come in and things would need to go out, and they're always located near Air Force bases for a reason, to get that stuff on planes and get it out of here. So an ex-military guy I was working with, he was telling me about these reverse signages. Like during a state of emergency, there's secret back routes coming down 80. Let me show you, or any freeway, any federal highway or freeway here. They would be reversed. So in other words, if they were coming down 80 or leaving, they can make it all exit lanes. Thank you, Ruby. All exit lanes. All 4 lanes would be going out, or all 4 lanes would be going in. And the signage would be reversed. Like, say for instance, see this road work ahead sign? Ruby, please. Please. There's so many distractions right now. I'm trying to talk. My dog's shaking her head over and over when she's been asleep for 2 hours. This is the wrestle that we find ourselves in. It's not with flesh and blood. So where it says road work ahead, the sign would be on behind these signs, and when you're driving by you wouldn't even see them. But they reversed direction of the freeway for FEMA vehicles apparently over 16 feet tall would come in the opposite way, and we're not going to be able to go anywhere on these highways if they're being used for emergency use. And why now? Think about this, and I'll close with this. And I thank you for listening, and watch my next couple of videos I put up. During a time of 15 major fires burning in this state, during a time of epidemic historical drought, during a time of critical pestilence of airborne diseases spreading throughout our state, at a time when we have less money than I believe we've ever had, and I was born and raised here, and I'm 50. Why now? What's happening? What's coming? Why spend $36 million to raise 9 bridges by 1 foot? Well, she just told you that. She just told you why. Let's listen again.
Project.
For emergency response, a lot of the command centers, such as FEMA and Office of Emergency Services, can't get under these structures, so they have to detour around, which slows response time, which you do not want in an emergency.
Get ready, okay?
An overnight lift, I-80 traffic in both directions will be detoured to the Highway 2049.
There you go. $36 million to raise bridges to allow FEMA emergency vehicles in, closing Interstate 80 during a major fire. Just think about it. And comment if you know about those, what's called secret hidden highway signs or something like that. Show 'em.